Three, two, one. What it is, what it do, and how the hell are all of you? With yours truly, Petra Fucker, back with another mother lover. You already know the deal. Grab a smoke, grab your drink, and lock in with your boy, because we back with another one. And in this one, we're going over a Fox News article. Critics hit Twitter for suspending conservative after mocking Brian Stelter. Don't you dare insult CNN. Rep Ken Buck, Twitter is fine with allowing CCP propaganda, but censoring conservatives for making a joke? Nah, they ain't going with that. Now, we all know Twitter is a leftist playground. We all know that if you make comments on Twitter, normally about lefties, they're going to come swinging for you because that's just what they do. And so, it's not really a shock that this man was, per se, censored, whatever. But it is fucked up that Twitter allows certain things to trend and to go on. That's not a problem. But when you compare Brian Stelter to the Gimp in Pulp Fiction, oh, that's a major problem. And we all know that Gimp in Pulp Fiction is more popular than Brian Stelter. Let's be honest. Brian Stelter is a joke. He's an activist. And a bad one at that. Now, conservative commentator Mike Davis sounded off on a bias that big tech on Monday after Twitter briefly suspended him for comparing CNN's Brian Stelter to the Gimp in the film Pulp Fiction, flagging it as a violation of their hateful conduct policy. Now, we're going to see what the tweet was, unless they deleted that shit, but there's always the archive for it, so we can find that. And, oh, nope. Oh, here it is. You really put big tech critic Wupton in Twitter's jail for comparing CNN's Brian Stelter to Gimp Pulp Fiction. I'd be very upset if the Gimp was I'd be very upset if I were the Gimp as well. But you know the Gimp is a fictional character, right? Must have been a fake complaint. Now Twitter uplifted the suspension of Will Upton, the author of the Stelter critique, shortly after he filed the appeal, but the platform still chose to suspend Davis for defending Upton's tweet. Twitter let Davis back on the platform Monday afternoon. So we took action on the account on referenced in error. A Twitter spokesperson said in a statement on Fox News Monday afternoon, this has been reversed and access to the account has been reinstated. We have a dedicated appeals process for account holders who believe we took action in error. Yeah, sure you do. It seems like a lot of people are upset that you censored somebody, so you didn't like the backlash. That's why. But if you don't have a group of people that are there to like, hey, unblock them, rah rah rah, that's bogus. That ban, that will stay in effect. They've proven that time and time again. Now, Republican strategist Andrew Serbian made note of the strange timeline events. So Twitter suspends Will Upton for comparing Stelter to a fictional movie character. Upton appeals and has his suspension lifted. Yet Twitter decides to suspend Mike Davis for defending Upton. You can make anti-Trump misinfo go viral on Twitter, but don't you dare insult CNN. And that's something that's happened more than once. Now, Davis told Fox News that he was amused and annoyed at the same time about the suspension. He had said he didn't understand why his tweet was problematic, but he added that he had a good idea as to why he was on Twitter's hit list. I'm clearly on their target list because I launched the Internet Accountability Project, and we've been highly successful in getting conservative lawmakers and influencers to change their position on antitrust big tech, he reasoned. Davis is a founder of and president of Internet Accountability Project, which is described as an advocacy organization fighting to rein in big tech. Oh, he's definitely going to be on their fucking their hit list for that. Come on now. Davis predicted that his recent Twitter blackout will only help his cause. When big tech does this, I don't think they realize all it does is raise our profile, which makes our fight against big tech more effective, he says. And that's true. Now, big tech is going to continue to go after conservatives left, right, and center. They've proven that time and time again, and they really have no signs of stopping. And that's a fucked up thing. It's just fucked up. And just speaking on Stelter, and when I think of censorship and I think of big tech and I think of when people get banned for things they say, I always think that there's the algorithm is going to be based to go against you. The humans that are going to watch it probably aren't going to side with what you side with. So it's really an uphill battle. It's exactly how I see it. Now, Brian Stelter, he's in the news once a week. I mean, the man's an anchor, so he should be in the news, right? Now, this man is a headline at least once a week. He's a joke multiple times a week. And the man just seems to not be able to stand criticism or anybody that just seemingly dislikes him. Now, this is another Fox News article. In an interview panned as bootlicking, CNN's Brian Stelter asked Jen Psaki to tell him what the media gets wrong. Brian Stelter was mocked Sunday for seemingly a softball interview with the White House press secretary Jen Psaki, in which his first question centered on what the media gets wrong in covering the Biden White House. Busy summer ahead, infrastructure, election reform. What does the press get wrong when covering Biden's agenda? When you watch the news, when you read the news, what do you think we get wrong? Stelter began the interview, which was conducted Friday but aired Sunday. Okay. Brian Stelter lobbying softball questions to Jen Psaki is a very irritating thing. Because it's not news. You're not asking questions that people want to know. Just like the journalist that asked about Biden's workout routine. What the fuck does that matter? With all the crises that are going on in America right now, why would you ask such a stupid question? No wonder they considered it a bootlicking. Some of our muscles have atrophied, Psaki answered, suggesting that the media has forgotten how long it takes to get a legislation passed when criticizing the administration. This is a tweet from Nicholas Fondacaro. Bootlicking on today's so-called reliable sources, CNN Brian Stelter begins his interview with Jen Psaki by asking her, what does the press get wrong? He then follows up by asking her about her feelings, noting that she must seem frustrated sometimes. You know, that's not a shock to me. I mean, let's run if we can run it. Let's run it one time. Let's get Brian's own words on here, you know what I mean? Brian Stelter, I think he's just an annoying little wasp. You know what I mean? That's what he's like, a wasp.
What might lie ahead? Jen, thanks for coming on Reliable Sources.
My pleasure.
Busy summer ahead, infrastructure, election reform. What does the press get wrong when covering Biden's agenda? When you watch the news, when you read the news, what do you think we get wrong?
Well, let's start with James O'Keefe exposed you guys for making up stories under the Trump administration, so you really have no reason, the American public has no reason not to believe that you wouldn't make up stories under the Biden administration, especially to help Biden, not hurt him. What does the media get wrong? They create stories. They use like third-party stories as actual fact. I don't think journalists actually fact-check anything anymore. They just allow Snopes to do it or a Facebook fact-checker. It's kind of funny. Now, the media gets a whole lot wrong, especially the mainstream media. Now, the independent media outlets, I would definitely recommend them, mother lovers, because they really don't be messing up. But that's really what the media gets wrong. And these softball questions are just proof that the Democratic left, the radical left, is there to sugarcoat Biden and make him feel wanted and safe and loved and warm and cuddly, when he's really the motherfucking president leading the free world, and he's doing a very bad job at it. But yet they wouldn't want to say that because they rode Trump for 4 years, every day, nonstop, every day. And he continually destroyed them. Biden needs them. There's a difference. Trump didn't need the media. The media needed Trump. Biden needs the media. The media doesn't need Biden. Crazy. We're going to finish this out with the list of dumbass questions.
I think some of our muscles have atrophied a little bit over the last few years, and there isn't a lot of memory, or recent memory, or longer memory on how long it takes to get legislation forward, or how messy the process of negotiating and the process of getting legislation across the finish line can be. So we understand everybody's always looking for a deadline, a timeline, things like that. But at the end of the day, our focus is on getting these bills across the finish line, doing it in a bipartisan way if we can. And we certainly recognize that that can be messy along the process. So I don't know if that's the press getting it wrong. I'll leave you to the critique of that, Brian. But I think sometimes we forget
Brian's not the press. He's an activist. He's a bad one at that. So let's not act like he's the next thing smoking. That man's show is failing, as is the network he runs with. But it's definitely funny to see how Brian Stelter and Jen Psaki and the media treats Biden. It's funny to see how a critique of Brian Stelter gets somebody banned. And it's funny how to see if that person gets reinstated, then the person that defended them gets banned, and yet Brian Stelter's still out here lobbing softball questions. Like I said, man, I think Brian Stelter really is the gimp of CNN. And I'm going to keep it at that. Now, y'all stay blazed, y'all stay blessed, y'all stay safe. And remember, Brian Stelter is not more popular than that gimp.